Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of my Character Explained series. And this time we are going to be covering Kang the Conqueror. He is a fictional character published by Marvel Comics, and he first appeared in the Golden Age of Comics as Rama Tut in Fantastic Four number 19, and his first appearance as Kang was in the Avengers number 8 in September 1964. He is a classic villain of the Avengers and the Fantastic Four as a time-traveling entity. Several alternate versions of Kang have appeared throughout Marvel's titles over the years, but he is set to make his Marvel Cinematic Universe debut in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantamania, which will be coming out hopefully sooner than later, and he will be portrayed by Jonathan Majors. So let us get into explaining this character before he makes his big MCU debut.
But a disruption in the space-time continuum destroyed my reality, wiping everything from existence. I traced the cause of the disruption to an anomaly in the time stream, something that should not have existed in the 21st century. Captain America.
Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Nathaniel Richards is a 31st century scholar and possible descendant of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. He became fascinated with history and time anomalies and discovered time travel technology created by Victor Von Doom, being Doctor Doom. Richards then travels back in time to ancient Egypt aboard a sphinx-shaped time ship and became the pharaoh Rama Tut, with plans to claim Sabur-Nur, which is the mutant destined to become Apocalypse, as his own heir. Ramatut's rule is cut short when he is defeated by the time-displaced Fantastic Four. And admitted Richards travels forward to the 20th century where he meets Doctor Doom, who he believes might be his own ancestor. He later designs armor based on Doom's and calls himself the Scarlet Centurion. He pits himself against the Avengers and alternate reality counterparts, and then he plans to dispose of all of them so he can rule over every single version of the multiverse and time itself. But the Avengers manage to force him from the timeline. Richards then returns to the 31st century but overshoots by 1,000 years, discovering a war-torn Earth that uses advanced weapons they no longer understand. He finds it simple to conquer the planet, expanding his dominion throughout the galaxy, and reinvents himself as Kang the Conqueror. But this future world is dying, and he decides to take over an earlier, more fertile Earth. Throughout his millennium-long run in the Marvel Universe, he has gone by many alternate egos, which I've mentioned a few, but he has gone by Immortus, an alternate version of Kang who resides in Limbo, Iron Lad, who is an adolescent version of Kang who first learns his future of the world, Rama Tut, which was his alias when he ruled ancient Egypt, Victor Timely, when he lived in the United States. There has even been an Ultimate Marvel, a female version of Kang, and also my personal favorite in the Spider-Ham reality, there is a villain named Kangaroo the Conqueror. Kang has an arsenal of intellectual prowess and abilities which he uses in his aid to conquer the universe. These range from being an expert historical scholar, time travel, genius level intellect, being a skilled tactician and hand to hand combatant, resistance to radiation, access to advanced technology from the 31st century and beyond, highly advanced battle armor that grants him enhanced strength, energy, hologram, and force field projection, 30-day supply of air and food, ability to control other forms of technology, and will slapping ray guns as Ramatut, but he's able to bring that to the future, and a pretty wicked chair that shoots a lot of laser guns. And now we get to go on some of the most major events that Kang has been involved in during his time in Marvel Comics. So, as his first foray into the 21st century under the Kang identity, he meets, battles the Avengers, and captures everyone except for Wasp and the Black Knight. And he does this to impress the princess of his own time, Ravonna, who does not return his feelings. He kidnaps the Avengers, as I said, and brings them as basically just a show of how amazing he can be and how amazing of a ruler he can be. Fortunately for him, the Avengers are able to escape and capture Kang and put him into stasis. He eventually gets out and reappears in the modern day, where he continues all of his evil acts against the Avengers. In hopes of restoring his love to life, Kang enters a wager with the cosmic entity, the Grand Master, using the Avengers as pawns in a game which, if he wins, can grant him the power over life and death. He's able to beat a ton of the Avengers, but eventually loses and is stopped by the Black Knight, who, not being Avenger, was the only reason he was able to beat Kang, because the wager was he was granted a power where he could stop all of the Avengers. But Black Knight came, saved the day, and that was the end of that storyline. Kang reappeared later at Avengers Mansion seeking the Celestial Madonna, who turned out to be Mantis. He desired to marry her as Mantis was destined to have a powerful child. The heroes are aided by a future version of Kang, who, tired of conquest, had returned to ancient Egypt and his identity as Rama-Tut, ruling benevolently for 10 years before placing himself in suspended animation to revive in the 20th century, desiring to cancel and change his younger self. With Kang successfully foiled, Rama-Tut is unable to prevent the accidental death of his future self, and during his time in Limbo, it is revealed that Immortus is the future incarnation of both Kang and Rama-Tut. While attempting to travel to the time of the Crusades afterwards, Hawkeye accidentally comes across Kang, sending both to the Old West. The warlord begins to develop a stronghold to conquer the 19th century, thus also conquering the presidents. Aided this time by Immortus, the Avengers, with some assistance from the Two Gun Kid, confront Kang. While trying to muster the strength to defeat Thor, Kang overloads his armor and destroys himself, apparently erasing Immortus and Rama-Tut from existence. After being revived multiple times, he becomes Prime Kang, captures the Vision, and battles both Avengers and new foe, the Terminatrix, who is revealed to be a revived Ravonna. Kang is critically injured when he intercepts a blow from Thor's hammer that was meant for his old love, who is distraught over his sacrifice and teleports away with him. Terminatrix places Prime Kang in stasis to heal his injuries and assume control over his empire. However, she finds the empire is under attack by a being called Aolith and is forced to summon the Avengers to assist. She revives Kang, who assists the Avengers in defeating Aoloth, but not before allowing the entity to kill the entire cross-time Kang corpse. In Avengers Forever, flashbacks reveal that many of Kang's recent actions were motivated by more of a desire to do something rather than a genuine desire for power. Kang feels limited and trapped by the burdens that his empire has created. However, as he prepares to become Immortus, he glimpses the future and learns of Immortus' servitude to the Timekeepers, renewing his horror at the destiny that awaits him as a simpering academic. As a result, Kang rejects his future to the point of aiding the Avengers in protecting Rick Jones from Immortus' latest scheme. When Immortus betrays the Timekeepers to try and save the Avengers, they kill him and attempt to turn Kang into Immortus. However, the temporal backlash of Kang's strength of will and temporary unstable environment causes Immortus to split off from Kang, essentially making Immortus a clear alternate version of Kang rather than Kang's future. With the weakened Timekeepers destroyed, Kang rejoices in his freedom from the destiny of Immortus, as he has now technically become him while still being himself. After this loss, Kang comes back in an ambitious scheme to conquer Earth, this time aided by his son Marcus, who uses the Scarlet Centurion alias. Kang promises any who aid on Earth a place in his new order, which puts Earth's defenses and the Avengers under strain as they fight off villain after villain after villain. He takes control of Earth's defense systems and forces a surrender after destroying Washington, D.C. and killing millions. The Avengers continue to battle Kang's forces and his new empire, and Captain America eventually defeats him in personal combat. Although imprisoned, Kang is freed by his son, revealed to be only one of a series of clones, and kills his clone Marcus for betraying him by assisting Warbird during the invasion and keeping it a secret despite multiple opportunities to admit the truth. Kang travels back and forth and comes back at multiple points of time, trying to conquer the Earth, but always being stopped by the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and even the X-Men. Recently in Marvel Comics, Kang, seen as a recurring character in the Pottersville arc of the Doctor Doom solo series, in which he is shown to be tethered to Doom in quantum entanglements, appearing at random points of time throughout the series, conversing with the Latvian despots. This later is revealed to be a ploy by Kang, as by aiding Doom in saving the world, Kang is actually making it easier for him to rule the world in 200 years' time. So, from all of this, you can tell that Kang is obsessed with changing the timeline to fit his needs in order to conquer the Earth. This is going to transfer pretty well in terms of where the Marvel Cinematic Verse seems to be going with the multiverse, alternate realities in terms of Doctor Strange and Quantamania, which is going to be his first appearance in the MCU in the Ant-Man and Wasp standalone film, which is set to come out in 2023, hopefully sooner. As I said, he will be portrayed by Jonathan Majors, who is known for his roles in Lovecraft Country and The Five Bloods. So please in the comments let me know where you think and how the Marvel Cinematic Verse is going to use Kang in his conquest to conquer the universe, and how excited you are to see this. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below which character you would like for me to cover next, because I am really enjoying doing these videos. And of course, if you like everything you saw in this video, you can check out all of my other videos and everything I do on YouTube and Twitch through the description and playlist that I have down below. Of course, subscribe if you like what you see here, and turn the ringer on if you want to know when I upload new videos. But awesome, guys, I really enjoyed doing this, and I can't wait to see how they introduce and use Kang in the Marvel Cinematic Universe very soon.